uh, enlightened being that lived up in the mountains, and only shamans went. So it was just from all the stories that they can pick. I always wonder, like, they got it so easy with the Aztecs and the Mayan. I mean, we have a really an unexploited story market here in Mexico, but whatever. Uh, why they choose, that one, and especially how the whole, I don't know if you remember, but the whole puzzle ended up badly. Ended up being the math was all wrong. It wasn't that great after all, and they were promising like this big gift to humanity at the end that ended up in being a real nothing burger. And they choose the Fango as being the voice of them, or the chosen one as being the voice also of Tengri. So that just you know strikes suspicious.
Yeah, I
And
don't.
also how, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, well, you can go ahead. Yeah, yeah, that happened, and then but he did come out of it. Like he was like, this is messed up. Y'all are just whatever, you know. Because don't you think he kind of? I don't know. I would like to ask him myself. Don't you think he kind of believed it? Like he wasn't just LARPing, but don't you think he like? I think he might still believe. I don't know. I don't know what people's beliefs are. So do you think maybe he was in the cult himself, like indoctrinated?
uh well, what research have shown is that even before the Fango was a streamer or ever appeared on YouTube, he was making Steam posts about the I Am, Saint Germain, Twin Flames, the Great Reset, all in line with that kind of uh, mentality. Actually, if you see uh, this guy F Bomb for You live stream where he talks with the Fango, the last thing that the Fango says before the live stream ends is like, well, you can be ascended and reincarnate also. So it's something that he still actually believes in. Uh,
Right,
uh,
but that's his belief. So I'm getting a little echo. Okay, you're muted now. So I missed that. So F bombs interviewed Defengo.
no, it was more like he was in the chat and they were having an interaction, and he, at the end the conversation went through to that, about how can, I remember F bombs like questioning the ideals of ascension and being woke and all that. I don't want to repeat something that happened, but yeah, and just how it ends, it shows that, yeah, that same alignment. And also throughout the years is that, like, I have a clip where uh he's promoting Nasara to Titus Frost. uh the fact that that uh as time has proven, uh he really doesn't, if you have skills, you can replicate them, right? That's a principle that we can all agree on. If you're good at something, let's say you're good at making songs, you're going to be able to make more songs. Okay. uh
Right.
it's in my experience that the puzzles, or the yeah, the things that he said regarding like how he was solving things and all that, was because he had the answers for such puzzle. And that's actually something that threw me off, made me really angry, because it was not only listening to him pretend to solve the puzzles, because it made me question, is he doing that just for publicity? But also that he would call the solvers like stupid, or that yeah, literally stupid, for not being able to figure that step of the puzzle. So it was like a throw off that I remember, that was a contingency point between me and Thomas, for a while, up until the last time that we all had an interaction with Defango, and he said that he was gonna expose us and to fuck y'all. And it was because it reached a point where it was an email that had Michael Levine, Thomas, myself, I think C also, but the Fango was given the option, if you can't do both things, as in make the puzzle, or participating in doing the puzzle, and also pretend to solve the puzzle online, because that just makes us look bad. Many reasons that are obvious, and also,
So,
but
but that was like between y'all, like not to
yeah,
not to make light of all of that, but but he's moved on, like, now, right? I mean, I know y'all still have your thing, and again, I'm not trying to make light of it. It just kind of goes into how it broke up. I don't know. Maybe people are into. To me, that's kind of like the drama side, but I know it's important, and some people are into that. But
well, it's
I,
important, as in the truth has been skewed as the reasons that this whole thing started, right? Because that email where the fan was given the choice of either which, that was the next day. It was when he was in his car, all pissed off, saying that he should have more money in his pocket, that he was promised a bunch of things, and 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 that was the start of his feud between him and Thomas, that dragged a bunch of us, and that's what people have forgotten, or have, uh, because repetition or whatever. But that was the reason. That's how I saw it, also from my side, as in, Defengo was given a really rational choice to make, and he, instead of rationally answering, he said that
yeah, um, a lot of things seem to have happened. I didn't follow it that closely.
what did we have?
I Do you see Aiken's question?
No.
I'll let you read that, and then
Oh, about that. Okay, so while I was going around spreading rumors and stuff, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. If you're talking about the whole red triangle thing, I could prove it in one. I've proven it a lot of times, and it's still in my Twitter. Just look my Twitter handle plus red triangle or something, or CU, and you're gonna see that there's an email where Thomas is contacting the game master of the red triangle, and he's telling him, basically, you know tell that Lestat made you lie and do all those videos against the Fango, and you'll have my favor. It's in your best interest, or otherwise, I have my team also, so it's up to you. And CU answers him uh, directly, just like, first of all, uh, the stat had nothing to do with the red triangle, and that's something that, yeah, I had nothing to do with it. I'm not into LARPs. If I got into Cicada, it's because I saw it as a serious project because Michael Levine was involved. When you research Michael Levine and you realize that he's actually a big shit in Hollywood, and you want to do something creative or something, well, you see an opportunity or a honey trap, however you want to put it.
I seem to remember Defengo being upset about something about that too. About somebody sent him a pic or something. I don't know. That would be. I didn't follow it closely enough to even recall what it was, but I do remember it was a person of age. That or so,
Uh,
I don't know. I don't know. It's horrible. Because okay. So tell me this: how did you end up from Cicada into the Freddy group there with OG and them into the pizza stuff?
I've never been into the pizza stuff. By then, they were calling out, as of my understanding of my recollection, they were calling out uh, people like Honeybee and all these scammers of Pizzagate, and I saw them as like the toughest audience to convince uh, that I wanted to call out the BS, that I wanted to whistleblow. So it was kind of like, uh, the if I can convince them, if I can, you know, that's gonna give me more confidence, or just, I thought it would be easier to oh, if this guy's the who are the toughest, because I remember back then they were the most critical uh critics of YouTube channels back then.
Was
And
Lee in that circle? Was Lee in that circle?
no, no, not at all. Not at all. I've never liked him, and all the interactions that I've had with him have, like, he acts cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, and no,
Yeah,
it's
because he
somebody
was.
that,
I saw where he was dropping OG's name over there to Gabe, I guess, and then anti-Semitism came in to play and whatever, and he was like, "Yeah, my friend OG, me, and he's my friend. He says hi."
well,
Bizarre.
just like, it's like name dropping just to win somebody's, it's hijacking somebody else's reputation. It's not so weird for our circle.
I wonder if they were trying to get Gabe to produce something.
I think that Gabe accomplished what he wanted. Just, make us lose time, and I never understood why people even put hope on him on the first time, for just for starters, because the thing was, it was all about him, and at the end, how it's, I don't want to make people feel bad, but uh you know I he did, yes, fun fact, and this is a true story, that Gabe Hoffman had an office on 666 Fifth Avenue's Jared Kushner building. Fun fact.
There's a lot there. There's a lot to that, isn't there? But back to Lee and that crew and Gabe, I think you're right in that Gabe did what he wanted to do, and he hired who he wanted to take care of what he wanted to have taken care of with the open secret. And I think that Lee was trying to bully him a little bit, as was members of that little crew were trying to bully, like, Lift the Veil. They kept wanting all of them to cover the Gunk and the Dave Tedeschini, like, and if people didn't want to cover it or didn't want to pick up the story, they were getting rude. And then the anti-Semitism came in, and Gabe also had Ali Alexander, who's going nuts right now, at his guest house, but they had a falling out. So whatever, but you know what? There is something very strange there, but his business, it would make business sense because that's where the money is. But where all that goes, I don't know. I really don't know. He was also on Alex Jones, so I don't know where his mind is or anything like that.
No,
But
wait. That's really sorry that I interrupt, but that's that's the least important. He was with the Fango. He was like a daily guest. What the hell does a millionaire like Gabe Hoffman has to do? Have to like what the fuck? It doesn't fit the picture. And sending Mossad teachers as a prank joke, while at the same time defending Jack Posobiec, uh, uh, diverting any attention to the connection between Epstein and that branch of the Israeli government. uh, it's even when the Fango came out against him. I don't know what trouble the Fango gets angry with somebody and just makes a video and expose the agenda, then deletes it. But some of us are ready, even script ready to pick that up. And he said he rats out what Gabe Hoffman real agenda was, and it was like it I don't even want to repeat it, but it sounded like a freaking conspiracy that they were actually trying to convey. Because why else hang out with that group if not to start something like that? Or even worse, it's like when MAGA Coalition came into the picture. I don't know if you remember. I think it was 2019. That all the characters that came with them at the same time, how they collected the Q slayers, how they they tried to put us all and agree with the fake evidence that was made by freaking microchip or whoever. I don't know if you remember how they try to force Unirock, and that's actually the only thing that I can say that I respect Unirock about, is that he stand his ground regarding the evidence. Even when MAGA Coalition, I remember the stream. I stream about that stream because it was amazing to see how they really wanted to get Unirock to confirm and to be on board with the evidence that was being portrayed, that by then was triggered all this by the Jack Posobiec expose on Q on OANN. So it's I really get how it could get nebulous and confusing for people who who just who's keeping a track on it on this. It's fucking insane. But I can tell you, I'm here to remind you of that, of those incidents that have happened, and how somebody that still remembers all those things that happened and lived them
yeah,
can.
I don't know, because business makes strange bedfellows, so to speak. So I don't I don't know, and that's maybe a poor choice, but poor choice of words. I really don't know. And Gabe's younger though, isn't he? I don't know. I don't want to even jump to any I don't know. I don't know it, but it's if it is interesting. But I wanted to get back to cicada here on. It's very interesting, and I've been watching it all. But here is the question. I'm going to read it down because it says, "Did you get Thomas into cicada, or did Thomas get you into cicada?"
That's a good one. No, Thomas didn't get me into cicada. I got interested in cicada by watching Ed from the Outer Light or Ed from the Outer Dark videos, and for researching from the internet. And eventually, I was kind of like, I found this other ARG that it was called the SVV, who actually Nathan has made videos about it, and one of them he actually mentions me back from 2017. Uh, and from there, I was kind of like funneled. They saw that I could do art and that I participated in that ARG, and people who later, like, there was this guy named Peng, who now I know it was Richard Miller C, who was involved with the other ARG, and we talk on Discord about puzzles and stuff, and cicada, and he would eventually be pushing me towards, hey, have you heard about Thomas Schoenberger? Have you heard about uh, Sophia Music? I've heard that that's the answer to cicada. So that's how I ended up, uh, looking up Sophia Music, and then I because Thomas had like a spider, a web of little dots that somebody could that has been previously primed to connect them, just goes into his channel and you like, oh yeah, sure, it makes sense, he's a composer and blah blah blah. uh so that mask, or that initial bias that you build upon yourself, or that uh more because of the music, it was something that never really, like, I couldn't understand, like, how can somebody who can allegedly, now I say it correctly, allegedly create such beautiful compositions, be such a shitty person, or be such like this like, it didn't make any sense. uh but then you know I understood that where the music came from, or I even put him to the test, and it's a story that I've said many times. But uh, he the image I had of him crumble upon my eyes. When I asked him to play in front of me to see if all the BS that he was making me go through was worth it, and he knew that I wasn't gonna go with, or just wasn't just gonna get some uh, you know, pentatonic scale improvisation. He was actually gonna, prove me that you're a freaking genius, and he couldn't. That's the moment where I called an Uber, called my uncles that live nearby, and asked them to help me escort a gentleman that doesn't want to leave my house.
Yeah, that
And
is all of it is so very bizarre. And then all of the content that you're coming out with now, when you research the tentacles, I wanted to get into, we might have to do this again because I have a sick relative, and I need to check on them. But oh yeah, I wanted to get into Professor Dilly, her work, how many other people are doing work like she does, and then how it got we left off on how it got hijacked by Russians, basically.
okay, well, about the Russians, it's been Russian since, I don't know, since Barbara Marx Hubbard took over. Yeah, it's just look for Yuri Vesmanov and all that, or within my playlist, just look at the Nasara, waiting for Nasara video. It's just, it's there. Really, if you haven't seen it, whoever sees this video, just do yourself a favor, look at that damn video, and then you can come back and tell me that the Fango came up with Q or some stuff like that, because it's
Can you spell that? Waiting for, and then how do you spell Nassar? N is in Nancy.
Nesera. Waiting for Nasara. Or if you go to my channel, go to my main, yeah, to my channel and just scroll down, and there's gonna be a playlist. Is the first video on the playlist.
Okay, and I'll see how long it is, because maybe I can upload it and share it as a file. Because you could share it as well. I don't have time tonight, but I was going to say, how long is it?
It's like 1 hour. It's a documentary they did on 2005. 2005. Just think about this when you're watching it. This was 2002, but it was released in 2005. Just think about that when you're watching it, and just laugh on the irony of how history, just horribly repeats itself. And the irony is, you just gotta watch it. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but yeah, it's a already well, let's say, series of steps that they have been doing, and they've been really playing the long term. So they're right now, they or in 2016 they saw, they harvest a little bit of it. Did it again in 2020 and January 6th. But it's the whole thing about the second American Revolution, the whole ideologies of the Tea Party, the John Birch Society. Alex Jones was part of the John Birch Society. Trump was part of this John Birch Society. It was also a member of the Tea Party, and all of those are just rich people making middle class Americans to protest against their own best interest. If people haven't, again, conspiracytheory.com is not really a promotion, because it's not a website that I've done for visitors. It's like my personal vault of information, but anyone who wishes to use any material there is very easy to download, like you've seen, and I don't mind, because again, it's just a vault of evidence that I collected from several sources related to this.
Check it out. I'll check it out, and I'll also put it on my community tab. Aiken he says he wants a clearer answer on who got you into Cicada. Is that a long story?
Well, it's like, who got me into, like, who said, "Oh, congratulations, now you're officially a Cicada." That was Thomas. Yeah. Period.
Okay, because when did Douglas Gabriel come into things with you?
I don't know if you guys remember, but when the deprogramming Cicada 3301 video came out, there was this commotion. Even Douglas Gabriel and AIM, when they did a video talking about it, and Douglas was saying how it made him cry and how it was beautiful and all that. So, it masturbated my ego a little bit. And I got curious about their other content, and immediately was like, "Oh, you want me to introduce him? You want to meet him?" And they already had this plan going on about the glass bead game, combining it with Cicada. And there's actually a video that I made for them about the glass bead game that is still up on YouTube, if I recall. Hmm.
Okay.
And yeah.
Aiken is asking about when did you first learn about the artifacts were stolen? The spear, for instance?
Well, I don't know about the spear being stolen per se. I know that, like, and I know this from the source. He scammed a lot of, like, old relics, be like pieces of the old house of Mozart from this guy in Vienna. But really, he's more of like finding old stuff and just making a story out of it. I set an example that it's really super suspicious, and it's a little rabbit hole in itself, but it really makes you question and kind of helps you understand that Thomas comes from a background of being a con artist dealing with making up shit. Like grabbing something old and just inventing it a story. So when the when when he started promoting the Salvador Mundi painting, and this was way back, just as I met him, as being the solution for Liber Primus, and he made videos, and I even made videos alluding to it. Uh, then to find out that that same piece of art ended up being the most uh, like expensive piece of art ever bought, and it was bought by this prince from the United Arab Emirates, and then uh, it's on my website, The Lost Leonardo. There's a documentary about it. Really, not much. Yeah, if you don't have anything better to do today, watch the documentary, and you can see how they can grab something that cost them like $500 in a flea market, and just by building hype and building a some sort of myth behind it, and just passing it around, and having plausible deniability, and they make that piece, that that thing that cost them, I think it was $5,000 or something like that, into the most ever uh, expensive painting ever sold and bought in an auction.
Yeah,
So yeah.
there was stuff with wine too. Something about some wine deals in Napa.
Oh well, he had a business in Napa, so like he was a promoter of talent. He actually got into a lot of trouble because of he didn't pay them. There was a lot of inconsistencies, but yeah, makes sense that he would meet interesting people because they would hire a live band to play in their events in the vineyard, let's say.
Right. And
And
I'd like to, I'm going to look into more of that. And then there's, Aiken wants to know about why did Thomas give you the Templar letter?
he gave it to me when he arrived at my house because supposedly he had pneumonia and I was gonna help him out. So he just took it outside his pocket, like it was inside of us, like an old Ziploc bag. Like it was like previously it could have been like holding weed or something, but now it had the alleged Templar letter. and he was like, "Here for you. This is for passing Cicada 3301." I was like, "Oh, cool." And I saw it, and it kind of looked legit. It was like, it looked like real papyrus. It even had a watermark. Uh, it had a bunch of stuff written on it. But at the end, it was it was analyzed professionally. I can't say by who, I can't say why right now, but it's eventually gonna come out. But it was, yeah, analyzed, and it was fake. It was a fake letter. So yeah, that's, you want the insight. That's actually, I don't have it anymore. The whoever,
But
whatever did the analysis still has that letter.
but to you that meant something, like that was like, oh wow, because you're into that stuff. Is that right? Or I mean, not the normal person is like, oh, a letter, thanks.
Well, you got to understand that I've never seen Thomas in my life after, up until the moment that he arrived in front of my door. So the illusion started to shatter really fast as the days progressed. That was my aha moment when I, had him in front of me, when he claimed that he couldn't go and buy cigarettes by himself because the sun will melt him or something, that he was allergic to the sun. When I, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or
maybe he's
that,
like hydrophobic or something.
the worst part is that before he came over, I had told my family that, like, oh, this famous pianist is going to come over and going to stay for a while. He's sick. But as soon as he gets better, you know, I'll arrange for him to play, and as a family reunion, we it's in a carne asada or something, and just listen to him play, because he's a pianist, so he will do what a pianist do. So by that premise, I kind of like told my family, that was the excuse that I had to ask an aunt of mine to get him a keyboard. It was not like the best keyboard, but it was like pretty nice, stand on keyboard. And then to see that how eventually, like, he was, when I told him, like, look, I got you the piano beat that you were crying about, that you didn't have, so you can make music now, you know go on. And he
Okay,
didn't even,
yeah, he couldn't even play it.
yeah. So I've always been very realistic about things, and I've never, yeah, like, I wasn't gonna fool myself. By then, I was very in contact with other cicadas. First of all, I was very angry. Like, why the fuck did nobody told me that Thomas was going to be like this burden, like this curse that I've invited into my house? Like, and I remember talking. Maybe people still remember, because I'm gonna talk about him. He doesn't get any mercy. Until Valor, I was
So
talking to him.
go ahead.
Uh, uh, I was talking to him the moment that, like, I found Thomas with, after taking 9 Ambien. Like,
Oh,
I didn't know
oh no.
what to do. That time, the Ambien thing, it's another story. Like, he was, before he came over, he was just asking me, hey, but can you get me some Ambien? Can you? I didn't even know what Ambien was, but I was like, yeah, sure. I have doctor friends because I was in medical school, uh, and was, yeah, I was
Laws in
top of the
Mexico
class,
are
and
different.
and
Flexible, yeah.
yeah,
I know.
I mean,
I know a lot of people that go to Mexico to get their, yeah, prescriptions are done differently there.
well, it's just that I have friend doctors that I can ask them about it, and they and yeah, so that wouldn't be a problem. So the second day he was here, I finally got him the Ambien. I remember giving him the box because why should I worry this grown up man? Was of course, just gave it to him. I remember giving him my room for him to rest because allegedly he had pneumonia. Uh, I went downstairs, was in the computer. 30 minutes passed, and just a big crash, mumble sound just right on top of my head. My room was right on top of the dining room where I was at that moment. So I come into the scene of Thomas just flat down in his face, drooling, just like, and my family was there in the house. I and you know uh,
Yeah,
the
that's
how
maybe, I
idiot
don't know.
one can be, because I thought that he was trying to suicide himself. So I was like, "No, Thomas, don't do that. No, no, no." So I help him out. Like, I don't even know how I pick him up because he's like a freaking whale. Uh, no, no, for real. I'm not that such a big of a guy, but you know,
I
a
know
good
that,
thing that they teach us how to handle like dead weight bodies in school in medical school. So it was kind of like that. I put him on the bed, and I was like, dude, like, don't do that, and blah blah. And when I was like supposedly giving him the pep talk, he had another Ambien in his hand, and he was about to pop it in. I was like, dude, like, what the fuck? And
oh,
that's the moment that I, yeah, he was gonna take another pill, and I stop him, like, what the fuck? Uh, that's the moment where I took the pills, and I stored, and I kept them. But that didn't last long because at the third or fourth day after that, I remember going into the shower. The pills were in my pants. I had really strict count on them, and that's just because that's me. Yeah. Uh,
so
and I
to
and I
cut,
noticed that he took that he went, and from my pants he took the pills, took some of them, and tried to pass them off. And I was like, you know what? Then I just threw the box at him. It's like, you're a grown man. You know you know what you're doing. And that was like the end of that. But yeah, it wasn't a nice experience at all. And yeah, I thought that I was really excited. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to ask him about Liber Primus and about this and that. And you know what? It was all day him bitching about the Fango and Beth. Like, up to a point that I told him, like, dude, shut the fuck up. Just get over it. Like, I don't even know why you. It's like you're trying to convince me to go after the Fango, because I remember when he was here, it was when the Fango did his stunt, because it was a stunt of faking his that he was going to commit suicide. I was among the people that actually believed him and got worried, and I told Thomas that this was a result of the pressure that he was putting on the Penguin to do something about it. And Thomas didn't want. Thomas just told me, "Oh, he's done it like 20 times. Just let him be." Uh, so yeah, there's a lot of things that I did not got Thomas into Cicada. How can I got Thomas into Cicada if Thomas was already doing things as Cicada, trying to sell things, to sell the Cicada brand back in 2015 or something, when I had no clue that Cicada existed. Okay, I did not. There's no way that I could have done that. And the kaleidoscope is just another like cheap old stuff like that he gave to Beth as a like a down payment of from all the money that he took from her. And I don't know what she did with it, but it was again just when you it looked like many things that you can make them look old and interesting. Yeah, but at the end it's just something bought from freaking flea shop. That's
Who has the
that's
Templar letter now? Who has the Templar letter?
the one that was given to me. The people who did the analysis of it. I can't say who I right now, but eventually it's gonna come out.
Oh, okay. So that okay. Well, that gives us a lot to think about because things are really going anyway. We should probably just end this because that way it'll be easier for you to upload, and then we'll talk again because I'm live a lot, and again I'll just jot questions down, and you're always welcome to pop up.
Sure, that's awesome. Like yeah, like this quick Q&A or just clearing things up or the reminder of the day, whatever you want to call it, when we can, when it doesn't have to be anything like that we have to do. But yeah, when we can, sure, I'm down for it. And at the end, it's all this. I do it a because I want to make things clear, and I see people struggling with what I once, the with the amount of information that's being thrown at them. And I'm glad to help. And the other reason is that I'm practicing my speech, I'm practicing my story, how I tell it. And so feedback on that, on even if you guys haven't watched the Ed Opperman's interview, I really appreciate in the comment section, either you want to throw shade or say that I did a good job, whatever. Anyway, at the end, like those criticisms that from the past have motivated me to really pay more attention of the things that I say and how I say it, and to be coherent. So yeah, the the trolls only make me stronger. So yeah, it's a good ending note, I guess.
Sounds
I was
your
gonna
English sounds
think.
great.
Excuse me.
Your English sounds great. By the way,
That's awesome. I was just uh, yeah, I've been having the opportunity to practice, but also like I want to be able to communicate what I'm trying to say. So the coherence of if what I'm saying makes sense or doesn't. In this case, I'm speaking. I know that I'm speaking to an audience that already has a background on what it have transpired, but sometimes you're going to see me that I'm going to have to explain the whole thing from zero, and that's I'm trying to get better at that. So I try to use this little segments for that, and so I appreciate it, the time in this space.
Sure. Thanks for coming. I'll just go ahead and end it now then, and I'll get with you later.
Yeah, I was looking for. I don't know if you wanted to with a video or something. But yeah, better end it. And if in any case I want to put something on the edited version, let's see. But yeah, anyway, again, for people who didn't catch it, there's a lot of stuff in the conspiracythestory.com. It's just a bolt of evidence. There's a way to direct download every video there, either the video or just the audio or in torrent. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
When you're done, put a link down in the comments.
yeah, actually done. Just saying good night and thanks for the invitation. Catch you later.
Yep. Thanks for coming. We'll see you later. Thanks, y'all. Bye.